Hello, welcome back to Greatest Love Ministries. This is Pastor James Hargrave. I want to talk to you a little bit about what I think might happen on the 9th of Av. That's August 3rd, 2025. The 9th of Av is a month on the Hebrew calendar. The 9th of Av was a date in which both temples, both in the Babylonian time, the Babylonians destroyed the temple on the 9th of Av, and the Romans in 70 AD destroyed the temple on the 9th of Av. And I want to point out um, this date because this date, the 9th of Av, isn't ominous coming up in 2025 simply because it's the 9th of Av, the anniversary, the 9th of Av. But also, it falls exactly on the 2520th day from September 10th, Rosh Hashanah, 2018, which started the 7 year tribulation period that is prophesied in Daniel. And Revelation talks about that too, but Revelation focuses primarily on the last 3.5 years, the last 42 months, or 1,260 days. I'm going to read this to you, Matthew 24. Jesus left the temple and was walking away when his disciples came up to him and called his attention to its buildings. Do you see all these things? He asked. Truly, I tell you, not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down. Tell us, they said, when will this happen? And what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? So, since the Bible in Daniel is predicting the 9th of Av, 2025, which is August 3rd, 2025. And Matthew 24 here is talking, and Jesus is talking about the temple. I think he's saying this day of calamity or of the sign of the end is going to be on the 9th of Av, 2025. I'm not for sure what's going to happen on the 9th of Av, but I believe it's going to be the destruction of Jerusalem. If I'm right, Babylon, the city of Babylon is Washington, D.C., the city of Seven Hills. Um, it's the city that rules over the kings of the earth. And we know that it's not just any city that's ever ruled over the kings of the earth. It's the city that's ruling over the kings of the earth at this particular time, the year 2025. Because the Bible tells us this specifically. Daniel 9, the 70 years points to 2018, 7 more years, 2025. So it fulfills scripture, the year 2025. And Washington, D.C. is the city that rules over the kings of the earth. Now it's being challenged by the BRIC nations. And that's part of why we're at the end of the world here. It's a power dynamic at play. But Babylon is a very wicked city, and Washington, D.C. is a very wicked city. Just read the description of Washington, D.C. in the book of Revelation, and it's going to be destroyed by fire. Now, what's interesting is the Bible tells us to come out of her, my people. It tells us to come out of Washington, D.C. at this time so that we do not share in her plagues. Because if indeed Washington, D.C., I think it's going to be on July 4th, not 100% sure on that, but I think it's going to be on July 4th or Independence Day, is going to be burned with fire, a nuclear bomb. If you're in the vicinity of that area, you're going to get radiation burns, radiation poisoning. If you're not just vaporized in the blast, if you're on the periphery, you're going to suffer and suffer greatly. So the Bible does tell us about that city, Washington, D.C., to come out from her. If you're a Christian, don't be around that city or you will participate in her punishment. You will be part of that punishment if you're in that city at this time the Bible warns about, which I think is July 4th, 2025. So then what happens on this 2520th day is August 3rd, the ninth of Ab. I think Jerusalem, the city that's split into three parts, and I think that three parts is the reference to it both being a sacred city of the Jews, a sacred city of the Christians, and a sacred city of Islam. And that's the three parts. And so it looks like Jerusalem could, on the ninth of Ab, be destroyed. That seems to be the pattern that's going to happen on the ninth of Ab. Now, I used to think once that happened, there would be thermonuclear exchange because it talks about in Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39 about Magog, the country or the nations of God, Magog, the nations of God, and Gog is Donald Trump. So North America, the United States, will be burned with fire, nuclear bombs probably. Um, and that's the retaliation for the attack on Israel and Jerusalem. Now, does that happen immediately on August 3rd? That there's thermonuclear exchange? I used to think so, but now I'm starting to really wonder if I was right on that. I think I'm wrong on that, to be honest. That's why I'm doing this video tonight. It looks like, according to Matthew 24, and let's just scroll down here and show you what I'm talking about. Let me see here. Can't find it. Anyway, it's about Noah. I can't find it. Where is it? Where's Noah here? Matthew 24. Okay, here it is. As it was in the days of Noah, verse 37, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. From the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. So when Christ returns, it looks like the scripture teaches he comes on Yom Teruah. Yom Teruah does fit the prophecies to a T in 2025. It's on September 21st, 22nd, 23rd, right in there. Um, um, Revelation 25, the 10 virgins talk about Jesus coming at midnight. I think that's a reference to the fall equinox, which is September 22nd this year. Anyway, on Yom Teruah, it looks like it's the day, the Feast of Trumpets, that Jesus returns on. So they know nothing about that day coming because when it looks like it's around that time, September 22nd, 23rd, that the real thermonuclear exchange happens. It looks like Jerusalem gets attacked, perhaps destroyed on August 3rd, and then by September 22nd, 23rd is thermonuclear exchange. And at that very hour, that same time, the angels gather up God's elect from the four winds, and it's the second coming of Christ. It's not a rapture event. It's the second coming of Christ around September 22nd, 23rd, and exactly around that same time, perhaps an hour later or minutes after, for lack of a better term, the rapture, being snatched up to meet Jesus in the sky, is thermonuclear exchange, utter destruction. Now, it might not be by nuclear bombs. Maybe it's another form of fire that the Lord does somehow through He's God. He can do anything He wants. But somehow it's around September 23rd. So I'm thinking July 4th, Babylon, Washington, D.C. gets destroyed. August 3rd, Jerusalem. The Gog Magog war really gets going in the Middle East and Israel. Um, War heats up, and then by September 22nd is thermonuclear exchange, and also the second coming of Christ around September 23rd. This is also about what the Freemasons have foreshadowed and talked about September 23rd, and just happens September 23rd this year. It changes every year, but September 23rd in 2025 is Yom Teruah, the Feast of the Trumpet. So everything fits down to a T. Even the skull and bones number they put on the skull and bones of that club or that fraternity at Yale, 322. Even that in Freemasonry numerology or Freemasonry numeric date reckoning points to September 22nd. So it looks like everything's being fulfilled. And I just wanted to say this again because if I'm right, I do want to preach about grace before it's too late. I want people to know about their Lord and the love. And I just did a video and I encourage you to listen to it. It's about engaging faith. That faith has to be active and living. It's not just head knowledge. It's not intellectual knowledge that Jesus is the Son of God. It's engaging in the gospel. It's being a participant in the gospel. It's being part of his agenda. It's buying into it. It's investing. Um, it's engaging the gospel of grace and love to love our neighbor, to love the Lord in return for his love for us. So I just wanted to say that. Those are my predictions at this point. I'm going to be revising this if I get anything a little clearer, but I don't think thermonuclear exchange is coming till September 23rd, 2025. So you need to be taken up with Jesus when he returns on September 22nd, 2023, or else you're going to be living in a radiated nuclear winter world and fallout from nuclear war. Babylon's Washington, D.C., a very wicked city. It's going to be destroyed. And it does say step out from her. It doesn't say, I used to think perhaps where I'm living here in New Orleans, I'm known to be a wicked city, would also be destroyed by fire on August 3rd. But I have my doubts about that. It doesn't matter. I'm ready to go, however it plays out. Ready anyway because I know the Lord. If you know the Lord, you have nothing to worry about. The Lord knows the details of the mysteries, and He'll let us know what we need to know if we need to know it. But I'm thinking that thermonuclear exchange, God did not appoint us for wrath. I think we're going to get to the second coming of Jesus on September 22nd or 23rd before that happens, except for the bombing, except for the bombing of Washington, D.C.